What improved your quality of life so much, you wish you did it sooner? Sleeping when I'm sleepy. Instructions unclear. Fired from work. Let me introduce you to Connaps. At my office, pretty much every new parent co-worker would eat a quick lunch then sit in their car and nap. Or take a 20-minute coffee break in their car. You knew the car nappers because their cars would be parked in a lot that was not quite visible from the office due to some trees and the spots were shaded. 43-year-old. Started exercising regularly again 4x a week. Forget the physical benefits for a minute. The mental benefits outweigh the gains all day. This is exactly why I finally took up exercise. I've never considered myself a fitness girl by any means, but last winter my mental health took such a hit that I had to try something, and I liked it so much I'm still sticking with it. I have tried to work out many times over many years, but not even once I experienced feeling good after I'm done. No endorphins, no happy hormones. So what gives? Learning to be okay with saying no and starting off all relationships, personal and professional, with healthy boundaries. You don't ever need an excuse to say no to if you don't want to do something. Don't feel like going out with friends that night. No thank you. Don't want to work an extra shift at your place of employment if it's not mandatory. No thanks, boss. Boundaries are amazing, and when set from the beginning, they are much easier to maintain for your own mental well-being. Givers have to set limits because takers don't have any. The only people who get upset at you having boundaries are the people who benefited by you having none. Quitting smoking. I couldn't imagine life without it back then. But man, is life better without a constant need like that, not to mention all the health benefits. Me too. I can walk and run and go upstairs without wheezing now. I like being able to laugh without coughing too. Letting my pride and ego take hits. I used to have been such a me person in my early life. When I allowed myself to be taken down a peg or two, I started having new perspectives on life and people around me. It's a great lesson for young people. If you're wrong about something, don't double down on it. Just admit fault, learn, and keep it moving. We all make mistakes. Let's quit pretending we are somehow better than everybody else. This is such a hard one to get people to change, partially because of egos, but largely because it is super ingrained in everyone that it is horrible to contradict something you've said in the past, like you are either a liar or you must not have strong convictions. It's like personal growth is actively frowned upon, unfortunately. Throwing out all my socks and buying a single type. No more looking for pairs. I did this a few years back and it was a game changer. I still have 3 types though. Calf height black socks for office work. Calf height white socks for outdoors work in boots. White ankle socks for casual wear or workouts. Laundry day is EZPZ for my crap. It's the 47,000 different kinds and colors of socks that my kids have that is a problem. I tried to do this a few years back. Turned out all the socks were slightly different enough to notice they didn't match. Flossing. I never saw the dentist as a kid, and no one really pushed me to or cared about my dental health. As an older editor who had poor dental hygiene growing up, keep at it. Getting old sucks as it is, but it's even worse when you have a problem that could have been avoided. I too had poor dental hygiene growing up, and it resulted in a lot of filled cavities. Now at 37, I've had 2 of those old fillings crack and have to be replaced in the past 6 months. It's like I've had to have dental work twice for the same damn cavity because I haven't. It sucks. Cutting out alcohol. I don't criticize anyone who drinks, but I was a problem drinker. Stopping that cycle improved everything about my life. I haven't quit drinking, but I've more or less quit getting wasted. Yes, it changes things. I'm the same way. I still drink occasionally but usually limit myself to 2 drinks. I realized that basically 99% of my most embarrassing instances and moments of bad judgment were when I was wasted. Automating simple yet time-consuming tasks like Excel macros. You wouldn't realize how much time you save beforehand, but it sure does save heaps. Excel is a huge part of my work. Where do I learn this stuff? Thank you. A good starting point is to enable the developer ribbon in Excel. Google it, it's easy. Next, don't bother trying to write any VBA, just record a macro for a simple but repetitive task like moving to a certain cell and pasting. Recording a macro is as easy as pressing the record button, doing a few things in Excel, and pressing the stop button. Now, every time you run that macro, it repeats what you recorded. You can assign a keyboard shortcut to launch it. Again, Google is your friend. Next, look at the VBA behind the macro you just made. That's what you'll be writing yourself once you learn a bit more. Mess around with the code, see what happens when you change bits. This will give you a feel for it. Once you're at this stage, start reading beginner level tutorials on VBA. You can record something similar to what you want, then fine tune it for a lot of tasks, so you don't need to be an expert to build some really useful macros that can literally shave hours off your day. Deleting all the people from high school I don't see anymore from social media. Deleting social media altogether. No Facebook, no Twitter, only limited amounts of Reddit. Does wonders. What's this limited amounts of Reddit you speak of? Working from home in it frick. This environment and industry fit me like a glove. WFH is amazing. I can't imagine ever wanting to commute for work again. No more losing time, money, and sleep. I love having ownership over my schedule. I went back to office work half the time. It is nice to see everyone, but once I start working I hate it. 99% of people spend a maximum 6 hours a day working. The time sitting at my desk for a midge between 3-5 are absolutely brutal. Everyone can see my desk and laptop, no Reddit, no anything. I grind away for 6 hours to scroll through the same crap I've seen on LinkedIn 100 times. At home, I'm more comfortable. Can get out of administrative/busy work done when I have a TV show or movie I've seen a million times playing in the background. For serious need to be on top of its stuff, I have my basement frick driving in the car for over an hour every day to say hello to people. Eating healthy. It's amazing after you realize how much you feel like crap after you just took down a double cheeseburger, extra large fries, and a large Coke, but at the time, you don't realize it and just think you're tired. Good eating habits and exercising changed my life. This, but also greasy salty food tastes amazing when you don't eat it as much. I eat fast food pizzas/burgers maybe once a month, and man does that taste way better now. Even then, I wouldn't eat that crap every day. It would make me sick. I can attest to this. I used to go to the Cane's by my house multiple times a week when I was at my heaviest. It was always my favorite nearby fast food, but after a while I didn't even enjoy the taste anymore. It was just habitual and easy. Now I have my health on track a bit more, and I only eat Cane's once every couple of weeks, and when I do it's a great treat. Hiking in the mountains. Nothing makes me feel more at peace and excited at the same time. Frick, I miss this. I moved from the northeast to South Florida, and while the weather is great and the beach is amazing to have year round, my heart and soul misses the mountains. I'm a mountain man. I'm a mountaineer. Drinking more water. When I got my first real job, I still had no money. The options for something to drink at work were either paying for a soda or water, which was free. One day of drinking water all day, no coffee, no soda, just water, and I had this holy crap, I've just been thirsty for the past 25 years moment, and I never looked back. Water or drink. That's it. Same. If you ever see me drinking anything that isn't water, it has alcohol in it. Cutting out toxic friends. After years of knowing someone, it can be hard to see that they are no longer the person they were when the relationship started. My childhood best friend grew into a manipulative, selfish prick. For years I hung out with him almost every day after work, and always felt miserable afterwards. Everyone around me questioned why I still spent time with him. I always made excuses that seem ridiculous in hindsight. I should have cut ties 10 years ago. Seeing a therapist. My dad died when I was 16, and I never saw or really talked to anyone about it till I was in my 30s. So many years wasted, being angry and sad. How did you go about finding a therapist who matched you? Start by researching the types of therapy. There are many different therapy methods, and matching the one for your goals is the first step. Then research the therapist in your area that fit that therapy type and find someone with experience working with your specific background and goals. Then meet with as many as you need to feel comfortable. There is nothing wrong with interviewing multiple therapists to find the right one. For me, I landed on EMDR and CBT as the type and found a therapist that had some background and experience with the religion I was raised in. You can PM if you have more questions. I was very shy and self-conscious, but at some point I started just living how I wanted. I already wasn't popular, so what was I risking? Girls still wouldn't be interested. I guess I just started doing things I'd been afraid to do before, including being more outgoing. I know this sounds like generic advice, but it really worked for me. Every time your brain says no, that wouldn't work out, or no, what would people think, or any other version of no, don't try. It's a perfect opportunity to do something you feel drawn to. Dye your hair pink. Try painting even though you know you'll suck at it. Fart and then say it was me. Okay, maybe not the last one. How do you shut out that self-conscious voice that thinks it knows the outcome of every situation? There's always something telling me why I shouldn't or can't do something I'm scared of. For me, it took acknowledging my own adulthood and really, truly gripping the fact that even if I frick up, once I decide I'm going to do it, I'll do it and deal with the consequences. I work in R&D, and I still have to remind myself that for every one project that goes right, there are going to be 99 that flop and just don't go the way I want. But if I don't do those other 99 and learn from them, I'll never get that magical happy feeling when it hits the bullseye. Being scared is fine. Being so scared that it prevents you from living requires a lot of willpower to overcome. Independent blankets for my wife and I in bed. Incredible how much better you sleep when there's no waking up with blankets pulled half off or using one that's too heavy or too light. I'd highly recommend for anyone that sleeps with a significant other. We are setting up to twin beds head to head. He has nerve damage and twitches in the night. We also are opposites on the hot and cold scale. I think this will let us hold hands and talk, but have our own micro environment. If you make them bunk though, you'll have so much more room for activities. Buying a good knife for cooking. I just got a Whetstone and it's a game changer. Tomato season is glorious now. Cutting tomatoes with a blunt knife is absolutely the worst. Losing 200 pounds. Someone give this man his PS 200 back. Thank you for making me almost choke on my food. Permanently placed my phone on do not disturb. Allow calls from contacts. This one change saved me from constant disruptive unwanted calls. Life is good on no ring lane. I did something similar. I turned off push notifications for pretty much every app. I did this too. Turned off all notifications for all apps. I only see messages, updates, whatever, if I intentionally go to that app to look for them. Absolute life changer. Took away stress I didn't even know I had. Buying a wardrobe of good quality, properly fitting clothing that I actually like. Agonizing over what to wear every morning because this doesn't fit properly. This one has a stain. I just wore that yesterday. I don't like how this sits on my body, would start my day off very badly. For me, the big thing was realizing that the size I buy doesn't matter. It's how it fits. I have some tops that are a size S. I have some tops that are an XL. Who the hell cares what size is on the label? Don't stick to one size because that's your size. If you like something, try on different sizes and find out which suits you best. I went into a store with a picture of the label on my best fitting pair of jeans. Size 12. Went in and cried because nothing even close to that size fit me. Accepting at 28 that I was a very emotional guy and letting myself cry whenever I needed to. I swear I cried constantly for about a year straight, as if catching up on all the feelings I repressed my whole life. However, it tapered off about a year ago and it kinda sucks. It's as if I literally grew thicker skin through truly allowing myself to feel the painful things I felt, and it's become increasingly difficult to cry like I used to. It felt really good to just let everything out. Frick yeah, brother. I was 28 when I realized that crap myself. I also realized I'm a romantic mythophriker. There's good things to being more sensitive. Sensitivity is a superpower you can utilize to positively impact yourself and others if you let yourself explore it and learn how to regulate it in a healthy manner. Exercise. God damn it, there it is. I never wanted to be here, but it always is. I know it keeps you healthy, but God, at what cost? Learning to get over myself. Nobody cares what I do. Nobody is looking at me, and why should I care if they are? Nobody outside my circle has enough context to make accurate judgments about how I live, so why am I trying so hard to justify my decisions? As soon as I adopted that mindset, being alive got significantly less crappy. I do my best to be a decent person and to take care of myself, and the only opinions I care about are mine, my partner's, and my therapist's. We need a thread on how to do this. How often do you think of other people, much less judge them? No one is thinking about you because no one truly cares about anyone besides their closest friends and family. They are too busy thinking about their own lives, and they've already forgotten about the embarrassing thing you did and never stopped to think about your life choices. You shouldn't care what other people think, because they don't think anything at all the overwhelming majority of the time. I stopped caring. Not everyone is gonna like you. All you need to do is like yourself. I often say I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. Besides, I like coffee better anyway. Taking vitamin D supplements and getting a therapy lamp for the winter. Holy crap, does it make a difference. I realized after my first year of university that the reason I didn't do well in the winter semester was that I was feeling depressed and exhausted due to the lack of sunlight. I live in Canada, so the days are way shorter in winter. So when you leave before the sun rises, get home after it sets, and wear a coat all day, so your skin is exposed to no sunlight, you miss a lot of vitamin D. So I take vitamin D supplements each morning to make up for what I'm missing, and I use a therapy lamp to simulate sunlight in the morning. You feel way more energized and awake during the day. I would highly recommend it to anyone who feels exhausted in winter. P.S. If you're interested in a therapy lamp, look up SAD lamp or seasonal affective disorder lamp. I take a bunch of vitamins, but all could be bullcrap, except vitamin D. It's the only one I notice if I don't take it. Good stuff and cheap. B12 is good too. I don't take it every day, but sometimes when I know it's going to be a long day. I used to work a night job, and everyone working there would take one at the start of shift if we knew it was going to be a long shift. Bought a cart that carries my groceries from the car to my apartment. No more trying to carry 5 bags in each hand. I read this as if the cart is automated and takes them by itself, but I don't think it's what you meant. If it is, then where do I buy one? Boston Dynamics type of cart. Getting your teeth fixed. I'm ready to get my teeth fixed for good and spend all my savings doing it, but my father is holding me up trying to find a cheaper alternative. He doesn't understand how much of an impact it has on my self-esteem. I'm almost going behind his back and just doing it. If you find a cheaper alternative, make sure they got good recommendations from clients with similar conditions to yours. Otherwise you might regret the bucks you save, or even spend more down the line. You young kids will think this crazy, but I'm glad to have gotten older. All those things that worried me when I was in my 20s just don't matter anymore. I'm 67 now and much happier. Totally agree. 53-year woman here. A hottie in my youth. The relief and freedom with not feeling like my worth is dependent on my looks is palpable. I stopped dyeing my hair during quarantine, and now I have this wild silver streak in the front that I love. I think I'm going to grow it long again and fully rock the witch vibe. Why? Cause I'm old enough to no longer give a crap about other people's judgment. Also a lot of more substantial lessons about life and living and death. Could you share some of your lessons about life? Roomba. OMG, not having to sweep dog/cat hair daily is such a blessing. Real talk, I don't know a single damned person with pets who has one, and I need an objective opinion. Does that crap really pick up all the cat hair? I've got 4 fuzzy beasts at home, and I really do want a little vacuum 2D2, but I could not convince myself to drop the cash on one only for it to struggle to keep up. How frequently do you have to maintain it? Maintain? You mean empty the tray? Because of the amount of hair, I try to do it every run, The first time you run it, you'll have to clean it out 3-4 times as it runs. My cat and dog shed like crazy, and yes, it picks it up very well. It also pushes the cat's toys under the couch though, LMAO. Yoga. I'm an old guy and discovered it at age 56 in 2005. By now I'm still not terribly proficient, but yoga has kept me limber. More importantly, it has been amazing for improving my peace of mind. Whenever somebody asks why I practice yoga, I reply, for peace of mind. An Indian friend of mine runs a restaurant, an incredibly stressful job. It was eating him alive until he started doing yoga. Thinking he'd gotten some yoga master from back home to teach him, I asked him how he learned. YouTube. It's great. You can find everything there. And hey, he's like a different guy now. Moving out of my parents' house. Welp, 24 and still live at home. Hey, unless living with your parents it's a toxic environment, there's no rush. Living alone is expensive and the world hasn't really been stable lately. Breathing exercises. Focusing on really deep exhales. After about 10 minutes my whole outlook for the day changes. I went back to find this comment. I read this and thought I'd try it. I didn't think I'd even make it 10 minutes. A half hour later I felt almost high off oxygen. I'm writing to let you know that I feel much calmer now. Thanks for the breath of fresh air. Can I get an explanation/tutorial link? It's actually amazing how much more energy and satiation I get from homemade unsweetened oatmeal versus the stuff from the packet. Agreed. Once I learned that breakfast can be healthy, it changed my life. Also, once you make steel cut oats you'll never go back to rolled oats. Now that I can't agree with. The only method I've found to enjoy steel cut oats is to cook them for 40 minutes with extra liquid then let them sit overnight. Once I get through this container I'm done with steel cut. Committing myself to a mental hospital and subsequent treatment. Been going through some crap myself lately. Looked at that as an optional therapy or something. But holy crap, any type of treatment is expensive. Like life-ruiningly expensive for someone like myself that isn't wealthy and doesn't have insurance. OpenPath may be helpful, it's how I found my therapist. They help you locate mental health professionals who give you a reduced rate based on income. I think definitely worth looking into. LASIK. Best $4,000 I ever spent on myself. It's getting a lot cheaper now too. Where I'm it's about PS 1500 per eye. Conveniently I only have one and I'm planning on getting LASIK in the next few years. Just an FYI, my LASIK was $1,500 per eye, but then an extra $2,000 for surgical center fees. Stop working more than 40 hours a week. Yes, this. Not everyone is so conscientious as to enjoy dedicating their life to their job, and that's okay. Also, business owners too often don't understand why their employees aren't as dedicated to them. Well, it's because it's their business, not ours. The company doing better often has no benefit for the employees. In the good old days you'd get a large bonus based on your performance and company performance and have a clear path for advancement. A job is not always a career. Don't treat it like one. Working remotely, spending money on gas, parking, clothes, etc. Just not worth it for most of my pre-remote working life. During the pandemic I got a new job that cut down my commute by half and I thought I had it made. Then I was allowed to permanently WFH Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. Holy crap, it's amazing. Next step, negotiating WFH 100% of the time. I cut my mother out of my life a few years ago, and I wish I had done it as soon as I moved out, just as I did to my father. My life has been so much better since she hasn't been in it. I feel better about myself. I'm not being treated badly, and I can do what I want without fearing judgment. I'm glad I never reconciled either. From what I hear from her siblings, she hasn't changed a bit. She still has to be right all the time. She still lies about crap, and she still pulls authoritarian bullcrap. I've pretty much written her off. She has 7 years left to come to me, apologize for the nasty crap she did, take responsibility for aforementioned actions, and prove she has changed, or is in the process. But if she doesn't do that within the next 7 years, There's no way in hell I'd reconcile with her. You sound similar to me. Negative people in general have a way of clinging on to you in your life and slowly destroying you. You don't realize the difference it makes until you remove yourself from the situation. People have the need to default to, but she's your mum. I'm like, bish, I'm the one living my life, and I'm competent enough to make this decision.